Hello and welcome, our Lord viewers, to RTD's News English edition. Tonight, for the highlights, we got constitutions with the elected offices and chiefs of the districts, Minister of Interior and Municipality of Balbala. And the international scene in Tokyo concerning fifth wave of COVID-19 cases. Those were the major top stories for tonight. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Minister of the Interior, Mr. Saeed Nur Hassan, has early in this morning, as part of the contact, made a field visit in the town of Balbala. The Minister of the Interior met with local elected officials and neighborhood leaders in the District 4 and 5. This contact with local elected officials, neighborhood chiefs, and active and influential women from different neighborhoods of Balbala while taking the pulse of the administrative services served as a basis for a fruitful dialogue. Indeed, these discussions focus on the role that local elected officials and neighborhood leaders play in social cohesion. In other words, to master their roles in the entrenchment of democracy, development, and good local governance, the Minister of the Interior apprehended through direct exchange with the populations at the base the problems that beset them daily. As part of the dynamics of the activity, they have exposed the problems to each. In the end, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Saeed Nur Hassan, did not fail to thank all the elected officials of the municipality of Balbala for the notorious complicity within which they are working for the welfare of their fellow citizens. The National Agency for Disabled People continues its momentum with the process of digitization that allows the institution to better take care of disabled people and the latter to report their needs and any assistance required. Thus, we see the inclusion and mobility card thanks to a degree signed by the President of the Republic. Then the integrated management systems allows to follow up and better management, which is also known as the AMPH, requires of disabled people. And finally, the development of the Green Line 1519, which allows the decentralization of the access to information. The program of the digitalization and digitalization of AMPH services will make it easier for disabled people to benefit from assistance and support services. In addition, a system has been put in place within the ANPH in all the national and international areas to improve the access of people with disabilities to all services of the ANPH. The Director General, Mr. Saeed Douale, talked about the improvement of the ANPH's performance for the benefit of the people. Moving on to Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, received at Camp Sheikh Usman this morning at 7 a.m. Madam Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mu'min Asawi. This courtesy visit is a part of his contact with the high military history. This contact is made with the aim of outlining future prospects in the context of the partnership policy that will bring the action of this ministry with the military body. Also, the visit of Madam Minister participates in a new momentum, straining the contribution of the Djiboutian Army in the policy of social development from the point of view to the emancipation of the youth and the Djiboutian culture. This event attests the goodwill of the military high command to take a particular interest in the first place in the development of the country, launched by His Excellency the President of the Republic, head of the government and supreme head of the armies, in order to guarantee a consistent and durable partnership with the various ministerial authorities. Taking advantage of the occasion, the Djiboutian Armed Forces spared no effort to reserve to the Minister a warm welcome, accompanied by a musical animation orchestrated through the famous folk group Harbi. The People's Palace hosted this morning, Tuesday 24, a workshop on the preparation of the Congeal Report on the Hague Convention of 1954 and its two protocols. This workshop, chaired by the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hiba Mumin Asawi, took place in the presence of the Secretary General of UNESCO in Djibouti, Mr. Mohamed Moussayabe, the Director of Culture, Mrs. Fatima Abdi, and saw the participation of senior officials from the National Army, Justice Customs, NGOs, and cultural associations. The Director of Culture and the Secretary General of UNESCO took turns at the microphone to raise first the importance of this workshop in the strengthening of the relationship between the two institutions, but also to a disastrous impact of the war on cultural heritage. Finally, she renewed her confidence in the participants for their skills and know-how and declared the workshop open. The experts from the Ministry of Youth and Culture, namely Mr. Mohamed Hussein Douale, Mr. Osman Bouh, and Mr. Idris Musa Ahmed, explained to the participants the provision options aimed at safeguarding cultural property in the event of conflict, as well as the colossal task awaiting the community. After an exchange and debate, the workshop was closed by the Director of Culture. The Minister, after recalling the ins and outs of the convention in this workshop, emphasized the need to prepare provision tools and to form an adversary body for the implementation of the convention. Under the aegis of the Secretariat of State in charge of sports, ADEL organized yesterday the final of the summer soccer tournament. Started in July with about 15 teams, the apotheosis of the communal tournament, endowed with the trophy of cohesion and unity, was played in a packed Goulet Stadium. Through this tournament, the organizers aim to strengthen the bonds of living together and the unity between the populations. The event was enhanced by the presence of the Secretary of State in charge of sports, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil, the presence of the communities concerned, the Honorable Deputy Ibrahim Abdo, invited, as well as several other officials and members of the SES. The final pitted the teams of the commune of Balaos and that of Balbala. It was in the penalty shoutout that Balbala won 5-2 at the end of the game. The winners and losers and all those who have distinguished themselves in the tournament were called to the podium to receive awards and trophies from the hands of the officials. As part of the preparations for the start of the new school year at the Sports Study School of Ali Sibih for the month of September, 100 young girls and boys of Ali Sibih are busy preparing under the supervision of the Cuban expert Mr. Para. He brings a diversified practice of athletics adapted to the needs, rhythm, and motivation of each one. Beginner or confirmed, the new school year is here with the reception of the training sessions with the athletics school for the young college students and the high school students. The groups are all dynamic and work well in a professional spirit, and especially in a good mood. After the rehabilitation of a well in Ubukh, the association Belgium Djibouti is heading towards the region of Arta to realize a new similar project carried by its sense of patriotism and republican spirit, very far from the songs of division of Djibouti. The leaders of the association will always be present from the north to the south of the country of the brave and will support all local natives in favor of its citizens in difficulties. Abid and its friends of the Brussels diaspora have launched a collection of financial donations to cover the cost of purchasing the necessary materials to allow the population of Marjaga to draw water from the well with pumps. This project has received the support of the Ministry of Energy, who granted the solar panels and made available his collaborators for the good resolution of the project. The officials, the elders of Marjaga and the locality, as well as the representatives of the association, were present at the closing ceremony. This will allow the local population to get water with fewer difficulties and no water their cattle in this period of strong drought. On a visit to Pudabits, the WHO Director General reiterated his calls for a moratorium on booster doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. For Tidjors Adnahom Gabersis, the priority is not to administer a third dose, but to increase the vaccination coverage of poor countries. The virus will have the opportunity to circulate in countries with low vaccine coverage, and the Delta variant could evolve further and could be even more virulent, he stated. By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.